Hey everybody, welcome back to 122 in the beginning of week 2. This is Julie Quinn here, and I'm going to go over some of the Mind Edge material and just orient you to the week. So when you click back into Mind Edge, what you're going to see is Module 2, what is analysis? And so at this point, you've already chosen just one of those 4 readings. You've talked about it in your writing notes. You even had an opportunity last week to be able to discuss a moment of critical thinking in real life, and we're now taking that critical thinking from our own personal experiences outside of reading, and now we're going to sort of place it inside of a text, right? So you're going to deep dive into the text that you chose, and you're going to perform what's called a critical analysis assignment. So over the next couple of weeks, you're going to get very familiar with the article that you chose, and this is what this week looks like in helping you do that. So you've got you can also, by the way, this is, I think, is really helpful, download the module as a PDF if you find that you like to read on hard copy a little bit better. That could be something that you do as long as there's not an embedded video. So let's take a peek. How do we analyze is, just a little bit of an overview. You go to 2.2. We've got this reading context, purpose, and audience. We talked a little bit about purpose and audience last week. It was sort of to establish sort of like a baseline of what do you think the author is writing about and who is the author writing to. Being able to determine purpose and audience helps with understanding a text more deeply. So we're going to keep going with these ideas, and then we're going to develop our own purposes and audiences for the academic writing you do. So we're going to take this idea and carry it forward, right? So this isn't the only time you're going to see these concepts. They're going to continue to appear in the course. And so we've got the highlighted terms here with audience and purpose. You've got some exercises that you can complete within Mind Edge, right? And you've got different diagnostic questions if you're within a particular cohort. Once you've taken a look at that, you move on to the next reading, which is exercise 2.3. I'm just going to move on to the next one. Let's see. Sometimes it takes me a moment for this to pop up. Then we've got discussion about style, diction, and tone. These are other terms that we use to make sure we're writing in the right way to the right audience, right? Style refers to the way that you write. It's about how it's, style has an element of, depending on your audience, formality. So if you're writing to your professor, your style is going to be more formal. And if you're writing an email or a text message or a Snapchat to a friend, that would be so much more informal, right? And who cares about punctuation and spelling? And you can certainly use slang and abbreviations and emoticons and all of that, right? Style is a product of the words that you use, the tone, is this sort of an academic tone where you're not really emotional. There's this like an impassioned love letter, and the types of sentence structures you put together as well. Diction is about the words that you use. And so you'll read 2.3 and you'll get a chance to sort of go through. This is a little bit of a longer section, but it's not particularly long. And you have the practice as you go. So that'll be really helpful. Now, exercise 2.4 is a guided analysis activity, so this will be graded. And note, you're going to be reading a different article than the one that you chose, and it's just an opportunity to practice some of the concepts that you just learned in 2.2 and 2.3 on something fresh, so you're not stuck with that same article for 8 weeks, although we're going to come back to it in exercise 2.5, okay? But you have the opportunity to take a look at that one article in there. It's just a guided activity, and then you will answer those questions. That's something, even if you save this as a PDF, you're going to want to do this online. And then the big graded assignment for the week. You'll notice that there is no discussion this week. I believe the discussions are in weeks 1, 6, and 8. Okay, the other weeks you do have assignments that are due by Sunday. So this week's assignments, everything is due by Sunday. If you want to do it early, that's great. I certainly look forward to seeing it a little bit early, and I try to grade a little bit early if I can, just so students aren't waiting on grades. But you'll notice this major assignment here, the importance of analysis. It says you've learned about active reading and analysis by looking closely at a selected reading. You've uncovered ideas that maybe you did not see when you just did the literal reading. This is the summary of the assignment. But by thinking about style, diction, and tone, it can tell you a lot more about audience. It can tell you a lot more about purpose, right? So this is what you're going to do. You're going to answer the following questions, and this is really important, okay, because I have to grade you by this. Each of these bullet points is a paragraph, okay? Paragraph 1, 2, and 3. Make sure, and this is what I think will be really helpful. What if you cut these questions and you can open up Word? And I think this will be helpful for students to certainly try to do it this way. And then if you pasted your responses, and then you typed your paragraphs, you're welcome to take out the bullets later. I don't need those bullets, but what I'm looking for is for you to signal each section of your response by saying, the context of my article, it's a bummer going to the beach, by Jonathan Rauch is, or, and I'm mixing, author names and titles right now because there's so many of them. But always make sure you orient your reader to article title and you say the context is. The writing structure did this and the author's claim it, So you're signaling to your reader that you're answering the next part of the prompt, and do them in successive, individualized paragraphs. That will be great. Another thing you can think about if you're doing this in Word, which is, what I recommend, so you can get bubble feedback, and bubble feedback looks something like, hey, did you mean? And I get a chance to highlight your writing as you go and to give you response in line. If you leave a Word, a PDF, I'll leave you audio feedback. And it just depends on what you like. You may like the audio feedback better. We'll keep doing that. But if you want the inline bubble comments as you write, then you want to submit your document as a Word document. And when you're in Word, you can certainly go and set it up in Times New Roman, 12-point, double-spaced font. That will get you practicing and get you ready for the essay drafts and format of essays that we're going to work on in the modules to come. So when you're done with this exercise, let me actually go back to it. The guidelines for submission, see it says double-spaced 12-point Times New Roman font, 1-inch margins. In Word, you can find the margins file. Actually, let me go back here. Margins are under view, I believe. No, layout, excuse me. It's under layout. Your version of Word may be different. I'm on my laptop at the moment, not on my regular computer, so I have a different version. But margins, if you choose normal, it's 1 inch on all sides, and that's perfect. We want to make sure everybody sort of has the same level playing field, right? The other thing that I recommend, that I recommended last week, that I'm recommending this week, is to go through your assignment and print it out and print out the rubric. It is so helpful to use the rubric as an editorial checklist. Did you have a paragraph on context? Do you have a paragraph on structure and claim? Do you have a paragraph on effectiveness? And throughout, how easy is your text? How academic does it sound? I'm looking at your diction and your tone and your sentence structure and your punctuation. There's no expectation of perfection. You'll notice that the assignment for grammar and mechanics or articulation of response is really just 10% of the grade. And if you have questions on this, you're welcome to reach out to me this week. I will be out of touch on Tuesday and Wednesday, but I'll be available Thursday and Friday of this upcoming week to chat, and maybe tomorrow, Mondays as well. So let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to seeing your work. You can always rewatch these videos and go through them again if you have any questions whatsoever.